Law of Attraction Talk Radio. Get ready to be the best you can be. Stay tuned for the Law of Attraction Talk Radio with Jules.
Well, good evening. I'm Jules from beautiful, cool, and refreshing Southern California, and I am so very excited. You are going to love tonight's show. We have got Jill Bolte Taylor, PhD, with us tonight to talk about her new incredible book, The Stroke of Insight. Now, you may remember seeing the video from TED as Dr. Taylor, a brain scientist, spoke about her personal experience of having a massive stroke at the age of 37 and being able to recall every detail of that mind-blowing experience, shall we say, after her 8-year recovery process. You know, or you may have heard her recently on Oprah, where she actually reveals how we can all experience this nirvana just by simply understanding that we're capable of changing our thoughts in an instant. I'm just so excited to be talking to her. I've got 1,001 questions. I know you do too, but I'm trying to think for you here. Let me just go ahead and introduce her. Dr. Taylor is a neuroanatomist. I knew I was going to mess that up, but better known as a brain scientist, who is affiliated with the Indiana University School of Medicine. She's the national spokesperson for the mentally ill at Harvard Brain Tissue Resource Center and a consulting neuroanatomist for Midwest Proton Radiotherapy Institute. Dr. Taylor was named one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people in the world, 2008. And after you listen to her today, you are going to understand why. I believe Dr. Taylor's experience holds the key to our happiness, not only for us individually, but for the entire world and world peace. Welcome, Dr. Taylor, to Law of Attraction Talk Radio.
Thanks, Jules. It's great to be here.
Let's talk about the morning of the stroke. You woke up with a headache, right?
I woke up with a pounding, pulsing pain behind my left eye, and it was very unusual for me to experience any kind of headache, and I was physically fit, so I certainly didn't think that it was anything major. So I got up and I started my normal routine, which was to jump onto my cardio glider, which is a full-body, full exercise machine.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm moving on this machine, I looked at my hands, and I realized that my hands looked like primitive claws grasping onto the bar, and it was a very peculiar sensation. And then I looked at my body, and I just thought, wow, I am a really strange-looking thing. I know. It's like, you know, I never really looked at myself like that. It was like, oh, this is my body, these are my arms, these are my legs. But no, it was that I really looked very peculiar. And I realized that I was there was a shift in my consciousness from being the person on the machine having the experience to some esoteric space where I'm witnessing myself having this experience. So that was the first clue that something was going on. But, you know, you don't make the assumption right off the bat, oh, my gosh, I'm having a stroke, until, you know, something really happens that indicates that. So it was quite a while down into the morning before my right arm went totally paralyzed. And then in that moment, that's when I realized, oh, my gosh, I'm having a stroke. That's what's going on.
And you said, oh, isn't this cool?
Well, I did. You know, my first response was, oh, my gosh, I'm having a stroke. And then the next response was, wow, you know, this is so cool. How many scientists have the opportunity to study their own brain from the inside out? It was a profound experience for me as a brain scientist.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, a perspective I never thought I'd have.
Yeah. After you had the massive stroke, all of a sudden your brain went silent, the left hemisphere. Can we talk about that a little bit? Something about ceasing of the constant chatter?
Yeah, we have this ongoing brain chatter in our heads. Did you ever wonder when you wake up in the morning and you're brushing your teeth, how it is that you know who you are? You know who you are because your brain is giving you that information. And it's usually talking to you and telling you, oh, I got to pick up bananas today, and I've got this on my to-do list, and boy, my toothbrush is really worn down. I need to get a new one. And it's just talking to you incessantly about, the ongoing details of your life and your relationship with the external world. And it's normal and healthy for your brain to do that. It's the language center in the left hemisphere. And it's designed to communicate with you so that you know what's going on. And on the morning of the hemorrhage, I went through these intermittent waves where my brain chatter went completely silent. And in those moments of silence, I was no longer distracted by information about the external world, but instead I was captivated by the beauty and the magnificence of the present moment. And all of my attention went to information streaming in through my sensory systems, and I felt that I was connected to all that is. I was detecting and attaching to the energy around me, and everything, including myself, radiates energy. So it was a fascinating experience for me, and as I was not thinking about my job because my brain wasn't talking to me about it anymore, and it wasn't talking to me about my relationships in the external world, and to my gratitude, it wasn't talking to me about my 37 years of emotional baggage. It was beautiful. It was this real sense of freedom, and I described it as euphoria, and that it was a feeling of being in nirvana.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a great experience. It's the kind of thing that I really wish that everybody could have the ability to quiet down their left hemisphere and just be in the present moment. I think that it would really validate for us what beautiful creatures we are as living beings, what a miracle life is just to be here, and that we're all connected to one another as brothers and sisters on this planet, and that we need to take care of one another as well as take care of this beautiful planet that sustains our life.
Wow. Well, would you say then that on the left-hand side, our emotions, where are they located? I mean, don't they have a lot to do with the right-hand side feeling that nirvana?
Well, emotions and our thoughts are all cells. It's just cells communicating with cells with chemicals in circuitry. Okay. And you're going to have your limbic system. When you look at the brain, the two hemispheres, the right and left hemispheres, are completely separate from one another. All you have to do is cut that corpus callosum, and we have two completely separate brains. At the same time, each half of the brain has what we call the limbic system. And the limbic system is our ability to place affect or feeling on information coming in through our sensory systems. So that is our emotional system. And when you look at the two hemispheres, they each have a limbic system. But when I had the hemorrhage in the left hemisphere, all of my old emotions evaporated. So my experience of fear, my experience of anger, my experience of sadness, all of that disappeared. And part of that was because I wasn't saying the things to myself that would normally stimulate that circuitry. So I wasn't saying things to myself that made me angry. So I wasn't running my anger circuitry because the language center was offline that would say things to me that would trigger that circuitry. But that didn't mean that I didn't experience emotion in the present moment, because the right hemisphere is all about the present moment and the information processing. So I was still capable of having a full experience in the present moment, and in the absence of my negative emotions, I personally had this total sense of euphoria.
To hear more of this exciting interview, go to lawofattractiontools.com and click the Listen Live button.